a lot of you, too many of you, have asked me to comment on a recent video from Freelee about me, which was really shocking to find out, I have to say. Years ago, Freelee and Durian Rider, they were still a thing, they didn't make videos about me. When I started commenting on raw tofu and criticizing raw tofu and eating that amount of fruit and lack of protein and all that sort of stuff, and I started talking about how I gained weight eating her. It wasn't raw tofu at the time, it was just 30 bananas a day. It was all raw, no cooked potatoes or anything like that. They maybe made a couple remarks like in comments and stuff, but they never made any like video responses to me. And I kind of respected them for that if they didn't want me to gain any more attention, because my channel was really, really small at the time, way smaller than it is now. And they had a lot more coverage, a lot more followers, and a lot more views on their videos than I did. So it made sense if they didn't want me to gain any more viewers, just ignore me, right? So I always kind of respected them for that. And so to hear that Freelee is like actually making apparently a whole video about me, I don't actually know. I don't know anything so far other than what partner told me that she made a video, I think about what I ate today I did, and said something about that I don't have to listen to the science about coffee, that I know it's bad or something. That's the extent of it. That's all I know. And he got that just from a comment. I don't think he's seen the video either. It was shocking to me to hear that she's actually making videos about me. And my first response was like, "Oh, that's sad." I mean, it is sad. Like this is how far she's fallen, I guess you could say. I mean, her channel is not what it once was. She doesn't get the views that she used to get. Seemingly that's why she's now focusing on me, because I don't know, maybe she's hoping to get more views, although I don't even get the views that I used to get. So it's like doubly sad. I'm laughing because what else can you do? But look, everyone deserves sympathy, even someone like Freelee, who I don't think has been 100% honest about her whole history with weight gain and weight loss, eating fruit and whatnot, and has obviously done a lot of damage in terms of her influence on people and what they eat. But even still, like, everyone deserves sympathy, and I think I've said in the past, I'll always be sympathetic toward her when it comes to her relationship with Durian Rider, and I think the obvious influence that he had on her, which seems to be a pretty negative influence for those of you who were familiar with her before they became a thing or even early on in their relationship. She seemed like a much different person, a much sweeter person at the very least. Maybe that's patronizing to some extent. You know, maybe this is coming from like well, she's a woman, so I don't know, like not allowing her as much agency as I should. You know, she obviously she's a grown-ass woman. She's responsible for what she does, but I can't help but feel some amount of, I don't know, sadness for her. Like, would she have ended up this way if it weren't for Durian Rider? I don't know, man. I don't think so, but what the fuck do I know? I don't know anything. This is a great start to the video. So she has one that I guess is responding to just like a regular what I ate today, and then the other one is responding to when I ate like I used to eat. Okay, so does she not use her Freelee channel anymore? Her Freelee channel still has 700,000 subscribers. I guess she does. She just posts little a day in the life type stuff. Her other channel is the Frugivore Diet, and she only has 35,000 subs there. Why did she do that? Why did she start a new channel? Freelee reacts to unnatural vegan, what I eat in a day on vegan diet, number 47. I guess that's just all the what I ate today she's responding to. I don't think it's me. I don't think she's done 47 videos on me. That would be amazing.
And I'm not going to get into the whole like addressing the whole backstory with Swayze over the years, her wanting me to promote her raw food raw food book back in the day. We'll probably get into that maybe another video. Yeah, I do have a raw food book, and it's a great book. It really, really is.
So she's promoting my old book. That is so weird. How did she even get that? It looks new. Yeah, I think she said that before that I asked her to promote it. Yeah, I probably did. Okay. She likes to do that. She likes to bring up when people have supported her. Like, that's a knock against them. Like, she did that with Jenna Marbles when she was criticizing Jenna. Like, she started with, I don't know, trying to portray them as like really good friends and stuff. It's like, you know, people can change their mind. But anyway, yeah, I had a book The Science of Eating Raw. I go through some of the nonsense in it in this video if you want to click and watch it. It's interesting.
I'm surprised that she only has 251,000 subscribers because she's been on YouTube as long as me, I think. She's been on YouTube as long as me.
Little digs, man. That's what I'm talking about. Is like with the Jenna Marble thing, criticizing her channel for being like for children or whatever. But I'm here trying to help. But yeah, I'm really surprised that she only has 250. It's like that passive aggressive. Okay, so she's responding to "I'm back, baby. What I ate today on a vegan diet." What was that video about? Oh, I'm back, baby. That was when I got back on coffee. I was off coffee for a while because it started just tasting not good. And I think even making me nauseous. Is that right? And so I was off it for a while and then I finally got back on it and I've been on it ever since. And I also found this amazing tip. And this is actually something that partner told me forever ago. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. Putting salt in coffee, it reduces the bitter. And it's amazing. I was looking up how to reduce the bitter in coffee because it seems like over the years, coffee has just gotten more and more bitter for me and just not good. And I've tried switching other brands. That's why I stopped drinking that Shade Grown because I thought it was like maybe it was that brand. And so I've just been drinking cheap McDonald's, the bagged ground coffee that you can buy at Kroger. But it still was like, man, it's like kind of bitter. And so I looked up like what are ways to reduce the bitterness, and it was like clean your coffee maker. Yeah, I've done that. Other little things like that I've already done. And then one of the tips was put a little bit of salt in your coffee. Oh my God, it is so delicious. The bitter is gone. It is fantastic. So I had to like tail between my legs, be like, so the whole salt and coffee thing seems like you were right, but whatever, moving on. Although I guess I'm going to be giving up coffee now, of course.
So she's starting the day with a psychoactive stimulant with a drug, and that's very unfortunate, and it shows that her diet is deficient, namely in sweet fruit.
I had a video on my channel talking about energy on a fruit diet and how no matter what I eat, like I didn't feel amazing when I ate all this fruit. I didn't have like super energy, and I talked about how like that's just kind of seemingly not who I am as a person. It doesn't really matter so much what I eat. It's like how much I sleep. Even when like I have enough sleep, everything's going great, I don't have any injury, I still don't think I feel amazing. And maybe that's just my personality. I'm not very energetic. I'm just not. I mean, I work out every day, but other than that, I'm pretty much sitting down. That's pretty much how I like it. I'm pretty laid back, physically and just my personality wise. I don't ever really get super hype about anything, except for roller coasters. Those get me pretty excited. And I seem to need a good amount of sleep, seemingly less than I used to. And I think it's because I fixed my back. Yes, I will have a video on that at some point in the future. I suspect that had something to do with it. Just being in constant pain, even low to moderate grade pain might have made me unusually fatigued. I don't know, but I don't seem to need nearly as much sleep as I used to. I've been going on like 7 hours and I take a 20-minute nap during the day and I feel better than I used to, more energy. I'm still just like, I don't know, I'm a tired person even when I ate raw. When I felt the best on raw, I was getting like 9.5 hours a night. I was going to bed early, which is very common. I wouldn't be surprised if Freelee promotes that too, going to bed early, but certainly in the low-fat raw crowd, at least, and Doug Graham and all those sorts of people, they definitely recommended getting a lot of sleep and not staying up late. That's like part of the whole lifestyle, right? It's getting lots of sun, it's eating lots of fruit, it's getting lots of sleep, and being active. I'm pretty sure that's what made the biggest difference when I felt really good and actually had like more energy than I normally do, is when I was getting 9+ hours of sleep a night. That ain't happening with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I mean, it could. That's not fair. I could go to sleep soon after they go to sleep and spend no time at all with partner, and I'm sure that would hugely benefit our relationship. I'm sure that wouldn't have any negative consequences. Point is, for her to just say it's lack of sweet fruit without any evidence, without knowing anything about my background or my sleep habits or anything. She's not a doctor. She's not a sleep doctor, a sleep expert, and I'm not her patient, so, But I wish I had that sort of confidence sometimes, I wish I could just be like, this is what you need, person. I mean, it's bad, obviously, like, don't be that person, but what's it like to be that person? you know?
So I just wanted to make a note there that she had a pop-up video suggestion saying coffee substitute. So she was obviously, I believe, trying to get off the coffee, or she's been off the coffee. Now she's back.
Finding a coffee substitute was trying to find another way to get caffeine. So I think in that video I talked about is that what it's called? Viter Energy caffeine pills that I like, and I don't take them every day. I take them really sparingly, honestly, just because I prefer coffee, although they work great. They work really fast, way faster than coffee. Whenever I need like an extra pick me up and I'm like didn't get enough sleep, don't have time to nap, I'll take like one or even two of those, and it helps a lot.
It seems like she's been trying to get off the drugs, and that is great. So.
Delicious. And so I woke up laughing about it, and I told partner, and he was like, you might be able to have coffee now. Like, you're really suggestible when it comes to like food and stuff. Like, we've had times where I thought,
well, it's not a food. That's an important point to make there. It's not actually a food. It is a drug.
Yes, Freelee, we know that it's a drug. We're all aware.
And I don't think we should be basing our diet, what we ingest, on something that is suggested to us, maybe in a dream. I'm not sure exactly what she's saying there.
Okay, she's not even like listening. Ugh, gosh, why am I even doing this? I was just talking about that I'm very suggestible when it comes to food. I think I would actually respond to hypnosis when it comes to food. Like, I'm not kidding. There's some people who are really suggestible. If you want more info on this, go look at Darren Brown. He does a lot of stuff like this. It's not magic. It's just there are certain people who are really suggestible is the best word. And you can get them to do really, really crazy things, just manipulating them psychologically. And so I kind of suspect that, at least when it comes to food, hypnosis might actually work on me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But anyway, one really good example is baking powder. So I have never had a problem with baking powder, with using regular baking powder and having it taste bitter or anything like that in like baked goods. But years ago, partner, I made pancakes or something, and he was like, oh, I think it's the baking powder. It just tastes really bitter, and like the aluminum, like we should get aluminum free. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And I started eating it. And I was like, oh my God, it does. You're right. Ever since then, I use aluminum free baking powder. But there have been so many things like that where I've like liked something, and he's like, oh, it's got like a gelatinous texture or something, and I'm like, oh my God, it does. I can't eat it anymore. Point is, I said in that video that like I had a dream that coffee was really delicious, and so partner was like, you're really suggestible when it comes to food. It might actually be okay now. And then it was. Yeah, I doubt you love the flavor you first time you had. Yeah, she's like, yeah, I've said all this before. I know it's a drug. I know I use it for energy. I know I like it because I've like habituated myself, although even still, it's still very bitter. The salt trick makes a huge difference. I put in a ton of Splenda and soy milk and all that kind of stuff to make it palatable. Most coffee drinkers, it's not like we're in denial. Like we know it's drug. So I don't know, like it's just a weird thing to try to educate people about, I guess, who doesn't know that coffee is a drug.
And I know a lot of people are for it because they're on it. Even studies, the people making the studies on the coffee, people are biased. It's like crazy. So you need to keep that in mind. But it's not actual food, and it's not nourishing you. It's depleting you.
There it is again, just that like it's depleting you. Depleting of what? Source? Okay.
She's pretty excited. She's kind of missed coffee. So if you're missing having a drug in your diet, then you have a deficient diet because it's not actual food. So we need to keep reminding ourselves, this is not food. This is not food. It is a substance, psychoactive stimulant drug.
No one thinks it's food. I mean, it's food in the sense that it's something you eat, and typically coffee itself has a little bit of calories, but also you're typically adding things to it. You can make it lots of calories if you want to get a Starbucks Frappuccino or whatever. Everyone knows that it's a drug. And it's not nourishing in the sense that it's not providing, very many vitamins and minerals or anything like that. Although, according to studies, although she'll call them biased because everyone drinks coffee, and so I guess that just throw all the studies out. I mean, this is typical of like alt med stuff, right? Whenever you try to study whatever it is they're claiming is a thing, acupuncture or whatever, and then the study's like, no, this doesn't do what you say it does. They're like, well, that's because you're using science. You're using man-made science to try to prove something that is essentially magic. They won't say magic, but essentially where they're going. Like, you can't prove this because it doesn't work on science. It's just outside of science. Well, okay. Isn't that convenient? And it's much the same thing. Like, well, you can't actually study coffee because everyone drinks coffee. So the studies are just immediately null and void, I guess. I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't drink coffee who will still look at the science and say, oh yeah, it looks like overall coffee kind of seems to be beneficial, at least in moderation. Obviously, you can drink too much, you can drink too late in the day and really mess up your sleep and all that sort of stuff. Cup or two a day early on in the day seems to possibly be beneficial. It's really not controversial at this point.
Caffeine mints. Okay, Vita Energy cinnamon flavored dietary supplement.
Mints because they're pretty great. So still.
She's going to have these because they're pretty great. She's going to ingest these. She's going to put these in her body because they're pretty great. Oh, this blows my mind, really, because Swayze is so critical of people's diets, of mine in particular, right? Of my super healthy, fruit-based, natural diet. Look at it. Look at the ingredients. It's full of chemicals. You're just going to be a walking chemical experiment.
Walking chemical experiment. Look, it's got sorbitol, which has been used for a very long time. Sorbitol is a safe sugar alcohol. Sometimes for some people it does cause digestive upset. Caffeine, obviously, calcium stearates, and a lot of pills. It's very, very common. Vitamin B3, sucralose, which of course is Splenda, my favorite. Vitamin B6, folic acid, vitamin B12. Yeah, so those are all the super scary chemicals in these caffeine pills. If you want to look up the ingredients in an apple or banana or whatever else, it looks pretty scary. It's lots of big words that, maybe you don't know what they mean, but just because a word is fairly long, it's got 3 or more syllables, and you don't know what it means, it doesn't mean it's actually scary. And of course, we know there are lots of natural things that are very, very scary and even deadly to us. And even some of the things in fruits and vegetables are not good for us, right? You have to look at the entire package. Obviously, there are lots of benefits to apples, but certainly they contain certain components that are not actually good for us. Literally everything that we eat does. It has aspects that are not actually good for us. So you have to look at the food as a whole and determine whether or not on the whole it is beneficial. And for me, caffeine pills, again, they can give me a little bit of bump in energy. As a fairly low energy person, I would consider myself. And again, like, really my ideal is getting 9+ hours a night. Even with my back being better, I know I do better when I'm getting like 9 hours a night. I'm just one of those people. If I were getting that amount of sleep and drinking coffee and still feeling low energy, yeah, I would absolutely consider like cutting out my second cup of coffee, or even cutting out coffee entirely. Like, if I had not done that before and I was struggling, like, I don't think it's unreasonable for people to try various things when it comes to energy and sleep, because there's just so many factors. So I'm definitely not like everyone needs to drink coffee or giving up coffee is always stupid. No, there are people who just really do feel jittery off of even just like mildly like roasted coffee. And there, I think, are people who it really just affects your circadian rhythm, even if you're having it relatively early in the day. So yeah, if I didn't know that not having coffee doesn't seem to make a difference for me, not having coffee and having tons of fruit doesn't seem to really affect my energy levels a whole lot. And again, if I were getting adequate sleep for me and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I would absolutely consider just like cutting out the coffee completely. So just wanted to say that I don't want it to seem like I'm promoting coffee to everyone or something. I don't think anyone thinks that, but all right, anyway, I need to stop stopping the video because we're only 5 minutes in.
40 milligrams. So it has 40 milligrams of caffeine, which is like about half a standard cup of coffee in just one.
It's so funny, the difference in perspective, because when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's lame. So I have to eat 2 mints to get 80. That's not even a standard cup. A standard cup is like 90 or 100. So even 2 mints is like not a standard cup of coffee. So that's my perspective. It's like, oh man, that sucks. But they do actually have extra strength. I'm on their little mailing list, and I just got an email saying that they have some extra strength ones that I'm guessing are 80 each mint. Man, I bet they taste delicious. And by delicious, I mean AS.
And it's got sucralose, of course. It's got the artificial sweetener in there, which we do not want to be having, right? It's just, yes, it tricks the brain temporarily into thinking some sugar came in, some sweet came in. And then when the chemical gets to the small intestine, it's just, hey, the brain is like, this is not sugar. There's no sugar to absorb here. There is no sugar to absorb into the bloodstream. It's just a chemical. And then the brain is like, okay, we need sugar. We need actual sugar. So you just go and, a lot of people go and binge because they're not actually meeting their glucose, fructose needs.
Evidence? Do you have studies on this? Because actually the studies overall looking at things like sucralose find that people tend to actually eat less calories. It's not substantial, we're not talking about a huge amount of weight loss, but people tend to weigh a little bit less consuming artificial sweeteners than not. Now, again, that's not proof of anything. It's just a correlation. But yeah, if you're going to say that people who eat artificial sweeteners, their brain figures it out and feels denied, and so then you go and binge, you have to actually prove that. I'm sure some people react that way. I'm sure people who are prone to eating disorders react that way. I'm sure they react that way when it comes to dieting. I've talked about this in the past. To just generalize and say this is what happens, you've got to have some pretty solid evidence to back that up. Going through the description, I'm not seeing much of anything other than just promoting her life-changing ebooks for the price of a dinner and a movie. So hey, very generous. Oh wait, of a dinner and movies. Well, what does that mean? Are we talking like 2 movies? Or are we talking like 100 movies? Because it sounds kind of expensive.
They just end up binging out, because they're replacing their energy needs with a drug.
It sounds like she's talking about calories there. Well, yeah, if you are trying to replace your calories with these pills, then yeah, that potentially could lead you to be very hungry. And then if you don't eat an actual meal and you keep depriving yourself, yeah, again, some people are really prone to just binging, and you can certainly end up with an eating disorder. It's very, very rare. Again, I've talked about that before. But there's a difference between energy needs in terms of caloric needs and just, hey, I feel like I have low energy, so I'm taking caffeine to boost my energy. You see what I mean? Those are 2 different things. And also, certainly there are people like me. I find that coffee does suppress my appetite, and I have used it in the past as an appetite suppressant. I don't anymore. I don't feel that I need to, honestly. I have no problem just maintaining a good weight. I'm sure Freelee would disagree with that, but in my opinion, a healthy weight. I'm certainly in the normal BMI category without having to suppress my appetite or anything like that. But yeah, certainly people use it as that. I don't see any problem with that unless you're trying to, significantly cut down your calories to the point where, again, you're not eating enough to maintain a healthy lifestyle and get enough nutrients and all of that stuff. But yeah, this is okay. This is obvious. Anyway.
It says here, do not take if you are pregnant, nursing, under 18. Under 18, you can't even take it. This is full on.
Anything with caffeine will say that. Lots of products will say that generally because you don't want to get in trouble because it hasn't been approved by the FDA. And so, yeah, there are lots and lots and lots of products, even fairly innocuous over-the-counter products that say, if you're pregnant, talk to your doctor, right? All that sort of stuff, just to kind of cover their own asses, so to speak. And because it hasn't been specifically approved as for pregnant women or for children, right? It doesn't mean that it's particularly dangerous or anything.
We need to get you off the drugs. We need to get you onto real food again, because you've obviously strayed so far from real health and real food. So we need to help you get back on board. And I recommend this book. I recommend you read your book. I know she's denounced the book and all of that, but we'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, I definitely do recommend your own book. But even just transitioning to fruit-based again, raw till 4, baby. I know you said you don't want to do it, but look, it's not fun to be addicted to drugs, is it? It's not fun. So
I'm laughing, but if I were a different person, if I were an easily offended person, I would probably be very offended by this, particularly given my background as someone who has known people, not just one person, who have died from drug overdose. And no, it wasn't coffee. To talk about coffee as though it's this it's, what does she say? It's not fun to be addicted to drugs. There are drugs and then there are drugs. Coffee is just not on the same level as certain addictive drugs that can literally kill you and kill lots of people, thousands of people in this country every single year. But again, I'm just not that kind of person, so I'm just gonna laugh, I guess.
I'm probably gonna need a nap today though.
Wow. So I'm going to take these when I feel like I'm dying. Oh, I'm probably going to need a nap today. So you can see her energy is really low. Her energy levels are really, really low.
I would love to be able to get 9+ hours a night with kids and with a relationship. Freelee doesn't have those things. Maybe she has a relationship with someone, but she doesn't have little kids she takes care of. It doesn't seem like she has really a whole lot of responsibilities. So yeah, I'm not saying this to be rude. Like, that's her choice in life. That's fine. But I think maybe this is coming from just a place of just total lack of experience. Like, I'm not saying that someone from her position can't criticize things I do or anything because of lack of experience. But I think in this case, that lack of experiencing what it's like to have little kids that get up when they get up, and you can't just go back to sleep because they're 2. And you can't just let them be up by themselves unless you would like your house to catch on fire or who knows what else. If you haven't experienced that, for some people, they just really don't know what that's like. They can't comprehend. And so she just misses that completely. I mean, she hasn't even brought it up at all yet. I think I just am about to say in the video, so it'll be interesting to see what she has to say about that. But yeah, I suspect this is coming from just a complete lack of experience when it comes to having that sort of responsibility. She lives for herself. She can get up, I'm sure, anytime she wants. She can go to bed anytime she wants.
Baby woke up early and I'm dying a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, that's even more reason, right, to eat as healthy as possible, isn't it? That when you have a baby, and I know plenty of mums with babies who are fruit-based, not on the caffeine, so you can't say, oh, she's just having it because she's got a baby. No, you can't use that excuse.
Damn, man. No excuses, man. No sympathy. That's kind of what I'm talking about. But she is right. Again, if I really wanted to get off coffee, I'm sure I could just by sleeping more and completely ruining my relationship with my partner.
She's got some makeup on there, all right? And I do like the fact that she shows her face without any makeup. I think that is great. She's got a bit on now, but before she didn't, so that is great.
Why does that matter? What a weird thing to say. I mean, I guess she's anti-makeup. She doesn't wear makeup, right? Because it's why? Is it a toxin thing or is it a whatever. My hair looks so cute though. Can I just say, what the hell did I do? How did I do that?
So she had, okay, we've got some food here, but she had another coffee. So she had one coffee and then had another coffee. That's a lot of caffeine, right?
Again, just perspective. Like 2 cups of coffee a day is actually fairly normal. It's really not a lot of coffee. It just depends on, where you're coming from, I guess.
This is going to be causing her some issues within her body for sure. And within her brain.
Some issues. What issues? I don't know. Issues.
It's all very well to show studies like, oh, there's no problem with coffee. There's no problem with caffeine. It's absolutely fine. But it's like, you know within yourself how it feels.
Oh, and now she's showing an old video. Oh gosh. So again, this is kind of that thing that she does where it's like trying to put past words or beliefs or actions like against the person she's talking about, like the Jenna Marbles thing. And now with this, it's like, yeah, I wrote a book that I no longer agree with. Yeah, I made that video. I no longer agree with it. I actually have a reaction to it. Maybe you should show that video. And so the feelings of energy that you experience are really just your body's way of trying to deal with the increased heart rate and stress hormones and all of that. So you feel like you have energy. Yes, coffee has short-term reactions in the body. Yes, obviously, that is true. But the question is, what do these short-term reactions have long term, right? What are the long term effects of drinking coffee? The evidence that we have does not suggest that long term use of coffee is dangerous. But of course, I'm not relying on evidence here. I'm relying on, where would I have heard this from? Probably from Doug Graham, the natural hygiene movement. That's where I'm coming from with this, right? I'm listening to these crazy people who are just trying to sell their books and almost kill people at their fasting retreats. That's awesome. Although the precise nature of the relation between coffee and BP, blood pressure is still unclear, most evidence suggests that regular intake of caffeinated coffee does not increase the risk of hypertension. Systematic review and dose response meta-analysis, that's pretty cool. And yeah, they actually found an inverse relationship between coffee and hypertension. And this is why science matters.
You know the effects that caffeine coffee does to you. You don't need some study. You don't need some study to lull you into this false sense of security.
I'm guessing that's what partner was talking about and what the comment he was referencing was talking about. You can look at studies, but really, you know inside. This is only hurting her, really. I mean, look, she can cherry pick studies if she wants to try and present a compelling case against coffee. But if you want to go by anecdotes, my personal coffee story does not at all support her position that a whole bunch of fruit is going to help me. Again, I slept a shit ton when I ate fruit. It didn't help me sleep any less. It's just a matter of sleep. Even if I switch to a fruit diet now, I'm not going to sleep 9+ hours a night.
Like, how is having coffee better than having a meal of sweet fruit? It's not.
Well, what is better? What do you mean? What is the metric we're going by in terms of nutrients and calories? No, of course not. I'm not using coffee for calories or nutrients or anything like that. But in terms of providing me energy, yeah, a bowl of fruit doesn't do that. It never did. So I just don't understand. Okay, so obviously there is a part 2. That wasn't the intention when I started this, but I don't know why it's so long. There's 30+ more minutes of footage. I'll try to pare it down, but yeah, there's some more old footage of me that she shows. It questions my fitness and my child rearing to some degree, and there might be a little bit of crying on my part at the end of the video. I might not put that in. I'll probably cut that out. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so that was part 1. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for part 2.